Welcome to the Real Estate Syndication Show. Whether you are a seasoned investor or building a new real estate business, this is the show for you. Whitney Sewell talks to top experts in the business. Our goal is to help you master real estate syndication. And now your host, Whitney Sewell.
This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today, our guest is Lennon Lee. Thanks for being on the show, Lennon.
Hey, Whitney, thank you for having me, man. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, I'm honored to have you on the show. And Lennon is the founder, principal of BLD Capital Group. He's been involved in the acquisition of over 1,500 units of multifamily real estate with approximate market value of $150 million. He's also the founder of the Multifamily Investing Club, a knowledge sharing and networking community. And Lennon, why don't you tell our listeners a little more about just your background and how you got into real estate?
Sure, definitely. Well, you said it well. That's the BLD Capital Group. It's my company. We're involved in real estate syndications specifically, and multifamily more specifically. And then the Multifamily Investing Club, like you said, is a networking community that I started. So a meetup that we do every month here in the Miami area, to bring together multifamily investors and network and build relationships, really. I actually got started in real estate in general in 2009 when we moved to the United States. I'm from Venezuela originally, so I got here. Actually, we bought real estate here in 2009. We moved in 2010. So between 2010 and 2015 or so, we had this small portfolio of condos and single families here in Miami. I was managing the small portfolio for my family here. All of that while studying for my master's in engineering management, and then I graduated. I did that for a couple of years until I decided to actually move full time into real estate, which I figured was my real thing, my real passion. And a little bit over a year since I started moving the portfolio. So around 2016, early 2016, I started moving into multifamily, and started the company around that same time. And like you said, we've been involved in different capacities. So as an LP, GP, co-GP, and a little bit of creative partnerships there. And almost 2,000 units now that we're going to be involved in across 7 properties, that is.
Nice. Very nice. So, so getting into real estate, so, I guess did you have a lot of other experience in real estate, or, what was, you did the townhomes, you managed those, and then you decided, okay, I'm going to scale this, or I'm going to do larger properties, or, do this, go into the syndication. What was that thought process like going from, doing that, managing those properties, to saying, okay, I really want to do this full time?
Yeah, definitely. It was really, I knew I loved real estate. I enjoyed it in general, but obviously managing those properties, you have dealt directly with tenants and the whole thing, which was not an enjoyable process. And at the end of the day, that was basically all the capital that my family had at that point. So the idea was to really find a vehicle to provide as passive as an income as possible. So I decided to get my license just to really save on the commissions from the sale of the dispositions of all these assets. And then, you know what? I said, well, I'm really enjoying this. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take this long term and focus on this full time. And then the reason why we moved into syndication specifically is, it started initially by deciding a product that I believed in and I understood, which was multifamily. And even before that, just commercial real estate in general, the way it's valued. And then multifamily specifically is what I understood best. And within multifamily, then, okay, we like the product. We understand the potential it has long-term and everything. So how can we be as passive as possible? What strategy within multifamily is going to allow us to do what we're looking to do? And that was syndication. At the end of the day, placing our trust and our capital in the hands of someone that has the experience and the track record and is willing to lead the charge on an investment that has the potential for not only, first of all, capital preservation and then the capital growth little by little. So that was the thought process. And from that, it was just about, okay, who am I going to invest with initially? And then from there, like I said before, we started building partnerships with those same operators that we invested with, built up other partnerships with other operators. And at the end of the day, the goal is to always, by thinking of how can I be within the product that I enjoy and that I understand and that I think has the most potential, how can I diversify now within that same product? And that's kind of the goal of my company. It's to build a network of what I like to call a curated network of some of the best operators in the country for me to deploy my own capital, my family's capital, and offer that same value to other investors like my family. So that's kind of the goal of the company.
Nice. So also, did I hear you correctly? You had a master's degree in engineering?
In engineering management, yeah.
Yeah. So what was that like moving from, say, you're working hard to get this degree to pursue that career path, and then you kind of change focus and I really want to do real estate full time. I can see a lot of listeners that are probably in that same boat, where they've worked hard to get this degree, but now they've said, no, I'd really like to do real estate full time. And they're probably receiving, a lot of pushback probably from family and friends. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I'm definitely, I would say, you know what, just go for it. Because it really feels good. I felt somewhat trying to do something that not really my family, because thankfully my parents and my family in general, my wife and everything, they never have been have certain specific expectations about anything. It's just let me do my thing. But it was within myself that I was okay. I need to have my degree and my engineering career, because initially, I just didn't have a defined passion. A lot of people find their passion very early and they go with it and stick with it, and that's amazing. Up until my late 20s, I was just going with it. Okay, got my title. I'm gonna build my career, but that's it. No passion at all. No real interest in what I was doing. So through all those years, I was managing this portfolio, and I enjoyed it. Again, without the handling of the tenants and all that, but everything else I understood. So I think we just need to make the decision eventually. And what I did was, I took a leap of faith in terms of, I actually took 1 year's salary or one and a half years salary and said, well, I'm going to have this savings there. That's what I'm going to live off. And I'm going to build a company. I need to get it going between right now and 1 year. So I think it's, going for it and being a little bit, taking the risk, and it's going to pay off.
That's awesome. I heard a quote just recently that was something like, there's no success with no risk taking.
There isn't. I mean, I don't think there is.
Yeah.
Anyway, not earned success anyway.
Yeah. So in this business, 1,500 units or so, I think you said 7 properties or so or more now. Yeah. What's really been your focus in, the BLD Capital Group? What's your specialty? Personally?
Yeah, we've been focusing specifically on building relationships with operators and bringing value to the table however we can, which normally means in the form of equity from my investors. So that's our main focus. And just recently, we built a partnership with one of my investors and a company out of Dallas that we're now going to be doing our own deals and sponsoring our own deals in Florida. So that's very exciting, very different, a lot of moving parts. Before, it was very passive in terms of, okay, I had to do all the betting up front of my operators and building that relationship little by little until I feel comfortable investing my own money, then opening those opportunities to my investors, and always being in between the two things, because, like I said before, and initially I started building this for myself and my family, honestly. And then I saw the value in opening these opportunities to other investors. So they don't have to really go through all the process of vetting the operators and doing it, which is really a full-time job if you look at it that way. Yeah, so then that's kind of the focus on building relationships and creating that network, and a lot of marketing, a lot of investor relations work, and yeah, that's the main thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about, obviously raising capital, helping someone to start to learn to raise capital that's never done that before and doesn't really know how to get started. Could you give us some ways to get started raising capital if we've never done that before? We haven't been a part of a syndication before, but that we're looking to raise capital maybe for somebody else's deal just to get into the business. How could you help us to get started?
Yeah, well, like I always like to say, at the end of the day, once you have your education and your systems in place in terms of the actual operations of the business, if you will, then from there it's all about marketing. It's really all about marketing and having a team that you can go to then potentially start building their relationships, start putting yourself out there and building relationships with people that at the end of the day are going to be trusting you with their money. And then either if you're an operator directly, you'll lead that investment. But then if not, like it's my case, then you'll take the money from your investors and put it in the hands of someone that you also trust and that you also are investing with. So that's I think the way I got started anyway. It's I just went ahead and said, well, how am I going to accelerate that learning curve into this whole syndication business? I later decided I wanted to be in the equity raising part, but in general, you want to accelerate it as much as possible, and that means different things for different people. But for me, it was finding someone that was really doing it at the highest level and trying to be as close to them as possible. So I started investing with them as a limited partner and trying to learn about how they were doing things and how they communicated with me. So I was on this side and then trying to move to the other side little by little. So then I started raising equity, and it's like a paid coaching program that I'm involved in, and that's I think that's a nice way. A lot of people don't like to pay for mentorship and all that. I think it's just I think it's just fair that you go ahead and try to accelerate as much as possible, even if it costs you some money. So I would advise that's a good idea.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's hard to find, or decipher between all the coaches, but I feel like if you're willing to put the time in, it's money well spent. I feel like most of it's on your back to go get it, but you have somebody like that to answer all your questions, and it just really accelerates the process.
100%. And a lot of people don't like, well, you can call them gurus, you can call them coaches, consultants, whatever the name you want to give them. It seems like everyone, it's a guru right now. And yes, you want to be careful with who you join forces with and who you're learning from and why are they doing what they're doing. And, but at the end of the day, a lot of people also like to talk crap about these gurus and this stuff. I think if you are someone that you have a track record of only one person that has been successful by being coached by you and following your program, and if that person did it, then everyone can do it if they put in the work. So I think that's the best way to start.
So you mentioned about marketing, and why don't you help us, as far as how to do good marketing? Because I feel like in the syndication business, or most syndicators aren't probably really good at that aspect of the business, or that's difficult to learn. And, we want to be focused on the numbers and getting deal flow and all these other things. But I feel like marketing is very important. And tell us how to get started in that, and maybe some techniques that's worked for you.
Yeah, well, definitely. You know what? Talking about real estate in general, it's a business that we're not used to seeing the best graphics, the best websites, the best presentations from the company and all that. And I found out that I had this marketing skills and really marketing and design skills. So I built my own website and I built my own presentations and all that. And I started getting good feedback, and I figured, well, I'm going to, actually focus on that a lot, because at the end of the day, people, when you share something with them, if it's whether that's a deal or just a message in your website, you don't want to be that company that, okay, the content's, it's right, but it's 2018, and people really pay attention to that. And if it feels like it's been an industry where we've been lacking on that side. So a lot of people start appreciating when they see better graphics, when they see better marketing in the way you communicate. And one big thing I would say, it's to take an approach that doesn't necessarily have to be the corporate approach. The way you communicate in the message can be, or should be, in my opinion, more direct, more honest, more relatable, I think is the word. Because the way I thought about it is, okay, I want to talk to my potential investors in a way that I like people to talk to me. That was one of the reasons that I invested with whom I invested with at the beginning, because of the relatable aspect of the message and the laid back approach to, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing it for myself, for my family, and you're free to join. So that message, I think it's very important. And I think one big thing that a lot of people get caught up in is that, okay, what's your differentiator and what's your competitive advantage? And yes, I understand that that's very, very important if you have the ability to craft a message where you can really show how different you are. But in terms of marketing, that you create that message and you put it out there through different channels. Well, nowadays, social media, it's really where it should be, and it's very, very inexpensive to market that way. So that's one tip. Facebook and Instagram ads, it's the way to go right now. But then coming back to, okay, once you have that message, that's fine and all, but at the end of the day, it's really hard to differentiate yourself. Like, how are you going to be different? Like the model that you're using versus another syndicator, it's really the same model, the same strategy. The product is the same. And maybe you have a proprietary underwriting software that you developed, but people are going to relate to that. It's not really something that's going to make it big. So really it all comes down to trust. Who do you trust with? Who do you identify yourself with the most? And once you have a network of people that you understand they are good operators or good syndicators, you are ultimately going to make your decision based on who you believe is going to do what they say they're going to do and who is going to communicate best at the end of the day with you. So I think the actual message that you craft for your marketing message in terms to get your potential investors and potential partners and everything are very important. But the relationship aspect, it's going to prevail at the end of the day.
Yeah, I like that. The relationship aspect is going to prevail. It's like you just mentioned too earlier, it comes down to trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the marketing is important about that too. So, you're reaching out to those investors often and they're learning more about you and who you are, what you stand for. Even in the, personally and all, but in the business as well, what you're looking for in deal sponsors or people you're partnering with and learning the business through you builds your credibility also.
100%. And I think I went on a tangent there, but one tip, if you will, from the marketing aspect or the design aspect, One tool that I use a lot for everything really, it's called Canva.com, CANV as in Victor A.com. And it's amazing. You can do all your presentations, all your marketing materials, you can design in there. You have a lot of templates. It's free. But it has an upgrade version, but it's most of it, it's free. And I think a lot of people would find it very, very valuable. Mostly the ones that are not very design oriented and all that. It really gives you an edge over regular designs that you see out there. So yeah.
I want to tell you about an upcoming real estate investing conference hosted by my good friend, Joe Fairless. Every February, Joe brings his best ever conference to Denver, which brings together the top high-level experienced real estate speakers and sponsors that has proven to be the best ever networking, content, and strategies to help grow your portfolio. The earlier you buy, the more you save. Ticket prices increase weekly, so you want to buy today. I attended in 2018, and I can guarantee you do not want to miss this conference. February 22nd and 23rd, 2019 in Denver. Go to besteverconference.com to reserve your seat today. That's besteverconference.com and use hashtag Whitney to save 10%. That's hashtag Whitney. Someone that's not maybe as tech savvy as you, but they still want the nice website, or presentations, obviously Canva, that's a great resource.
Yeah.
But, any other advice for them to maybe have a nice website or good marketing, but, maybe they don't have the time or they just don't have the skill set that they want, don't want to spend the time on learning how to do WordPress.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, nowadays, just like Canva, you have a lot of tools and websites that provide those resources and provide that access for you to get a good design, whether that's your website or anything else. So specifically Fiverr.com and Upwork.com, you can really go there and get a very decent website going, maybe not on WordPress or even on WordPress, but you have Wix.com, you have like all these other tools that there are freelancers out there, working on providing that service, and it's really, really inexpensive, and it doesn't really at least to get started, you don't really have to have the best website in terms with the best programs and all this. Like it has to be a very good looking website, modern design, where people understand, okay, these guys are, moving forward. They are paying attention to all the details, because that really shows and grabs the attention. And then obviously crafting the right message on your website and everything. But these tools of these websites where you can hire freelancers, it's definitely going to be a better option than going out there to an agency that's going to have overhead and everything. They have to cover a lot of costs, so they're going to pass some of that through to you. So
sure,
I would stay away from that if you are if you have a budget.
So tell us, I know you had started a meetup even. I mean, I would really consider that part of marketing too, right? Just able to meet more people and network. And tell us about, why you would want to start a meetup.
Yes, 100%. That's the other big thing when it comes to marketing. And again, this came from my coach. One of his big things is, you have to build a thought leadership platform, because like I said before, everything boils down to marketing. Like once you have your network, like in my case, you have my network of operators, I have my partnerships in place, all the legal stuff, it's in place. Now you have to be out there raising capital. That's it, all day, every day. The best way to do it, just like we said before, is it boils down to trust. And the only way, or the best way anyway, to build trust is to have people believe in what you are saying, believe in what you are preaching, and believe in you as a person. And the only way, or the best way, again, to do that, it's going to be through putting yourself out there and having people listen to what you have to say. So that is a thought leadership platform. Become a thought leader in what you're doing. In my case, I decided to do a meetup. In your case, you decided to do a podcast, which is, you're doing amazing. So I think whatever platform you decide, whether it's a YouTube channel or whatever it is, this is a great idea to have in terms of marketing and building trust. I started the meetup. It's been a year and a half now, almost two. Well, yeah, in May it's going to be 2 years, so a year and a half, and it's been great. It's all about that. There's no sales. There's no pitching of any of my projects or anyone's projects or anything. It's true knowledge sharing and true relationship building platform. My thing specifically is that I like to provide an environment that is not the regular or typical real estate corporate environment where everyone that's in a suit and tie and making relationships. That, like, I think that's not as approachable for someone that's getting started. And what I try to do is, well, we have a few beers, we have food and all that, and it's very relaxed environment. And I've had new investors, and I've had very experienced investors, network with each other, where in a different environment, the person that's getting started might not feel as comfortable approaching someone that owns 5,000 units and they feel they cannot talk to them, So providing that environment, it's been my main thing. And it's been a lot, very consistent. We normally have 30 to 40 people every day, every meetup. And, people find it very, very valuable.
Great. Thanks, Lennon. And, what would you say to the person that's just getting started in the syndication business? Maybe just a little bit of advice. Maybe you give someone that comes up and says, "Hey, Lennon, I'd love to get started in this business. I've had 1 or 2 single family rentals, but I really want to scale." What's your advice for them?
Yeah, well, I'm only going to talk about about my experience, and my experience has been, like I said before, taking a very step-by-step approach, going from one side of the business to the other. So I started at the same time that I started investing as a limited partner, so totally passive, trying to understand that side of the business and trying to understand what I would like to change when I'm on the other side and what things I would like to do better. I think that's a good way to do it, because then you start moving to the other side and you start understanding a little bit better what your potential clients and investors are want, because you were already in that position before. So I think that progressive approach, it's worked well for me. And then the other thing would be try to hyper focus and focus on a particular sandbox where you can be, or where you can be, at least if not the first or the best, to be in the top 3 in that particular sandbox. So I think that's very, very helpful. And at the end of the day, in my particular case, we are focusing on the capital raising side. And then only recently we started moving, just because the right partnerships came along, that we were able to now move into the sponsorship side and lead these syndications ourselves. But it's been a slow process. So again, taking that progressive approach, I think it's a good way to go. And obviously, if you're looking to make a quick buck in the business, go in and out for a couple of years, I would advise to just go flip houses or something else. This is a long-term game. It's all relationship built and trust built, so you can't do that by going in and out of the business.
Yeah, I agree completely. And Lennon, what would you say is the number one thing that's contributed to your success?
Well, it's specifically that the playing the long game. I'm going to be doing the same thing 30 years from now. I'm totally passionate about it, about the product, about the way about the way the relationship building works and the friendships that I'm building along the way. So that's my main thing. And I would also say something that's been very key in my success has been putting my money where my mouth is. I'm talking about, okay, I'm building this for my family and for myself to deploy my own capital. And then if you come on board as an investor with us, and then I'm not investing in the deal alongside you, I mean, it could happen. Honestly, so far, I've invested in 90% of the deals that I've done alongside my investors. It just happens that, one deal, maybe I was not liquid enough, or I was investing that money in building the company or whatnot. But generally speaking, you want to be, very honest about your alignment of interest with your investors or with your partners or with anyone else involved around you. So having that in mind, I think has contributed a lot to my success. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Lennon, you've been a great guest, and I really appreciate your time today and being on the show and the content. Would you tell the listener how they can learn more about you and your company?
Yes, of course. Well, best way to do it is to go to the website, www.bldcapitalgroup.com. And I have I'm very active on Instagram as well. The handle on Instagram is the Multifamily Investor. And that's the best way. And then we have a Facebook page as well for the company. So facebook.com/BLD Capital Group. But I would say the best way is the website directly, and then through Instagram.
Nice. Well, thank you, Lennon. And I hope the listeners learned a lot from Lennon. I know I have, and I hope you'll get on the Facebook group, the Real Estate Syndication Show, and where we can all ask experts like Lennon questions and learn how to grow our business and perform at a higher level. And we will talk to each of you tomorrow. Phoenix Syndication Workshop 2019 is a premier educational and networking event hosted by noted real estate investors Ben Leibovich and Sam Grooms. PSW is a 2-day event being held in Phoenix, Arizona on January 26th and 27th. The first day is dedicated exclusively to nuts and bolts underwriting training. Ben and Sam will give a detailed presentation of their approach, technique, and underwriting model, which allows them to pick out the best deals in this very competitive environment. A recent case study will be utilized as a basis for this training. On day 2, the attendees will learn from industry professionals. Ben and Sam will be joined by a mortgage broker, property manager, and an attorney to answer your questions. As a bonus, everyone will visit the property to experience the process in action. This type of in-depth and actionable access is truly rare and invaluable. Ben and Sam are passionate about giving back, so 20% of the gross revenue from this event will be donated to a nonprofit. Register for the Phoenix Syndication Workshop by visiting justaskbenwhy.com/Phoenix.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Syndication Show, brought to you by Life Bridge Capital. Life Bridge Capital works with investors nationwide to invest in real estate, while also donating 50% of its profits to assist parents who are committing to adoption. Life Bridge Capital, making a difference, one investor and one child at a time. Connect online at www.lifebridgecapital.com for free material and videos to further your success.